Hi. Today we're going to talk a little bit about long distance relationships and what keeps them going.
Yes, we think we know a thing or two about long distance relationships because we've been in one for more than 3 years
3 years
now.
and...
We basically met in Taipei, Taiwan back in January 2011, and we met right before I left Taiwan. So we spent 5 weeks together in the country. We did not know each other before. So our relationship developed very quickly, but it was natural. I didn't feel like it was rushed. So 5 weeks into our relationship, we started doing long distance, and it's been that way ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next time we actually saw each other was 5 months down the track.
Yeah. I hope that our long distance relationship will come to an end, as in we're going to be living together in the same place by the end of the year. But by that time, it will be almost 4 years of long distance, which is a really long time. But again, I think that our relationship just shows that it is possible. Of course, it's not for everyone.
The first thing is just being able to keep that contact going throughout the day, whatever time it may be, wherever you may be. So we've relied quite a bit on WhatsApp and Kakao using our smartphones.
Yes, and Tim actually only got his smartphone this year, which I was like, oh my gosh, welcome to the 21st century. No offense to people who don't have smartphones, but if you're in a long-distance international relationship, especially where the time zones are different and you can't always just pick up the phone and call whenever because it's like 3 a.m. where your boyfriend or girlfriend is, it really, really helps to have a smartphone. I mean, it's just increased, I think, the quality of our long-distance relationship because it's like we can be in... it's like a flow of communication, whereas before there were just blackout periods where we couldn't really communicate because Tim didn't have a smartphone. So that really helps.
That changed my life as well. Just those little things that we can do to include each other.
The next thing is, this is a good transition because we recommend that you and your partner be on the same page about how frequently you want to be in communication and how frequently you need that communication. So for example, Tim and I, we do video chat every day, and it's usually twice a day, once at the beginning of the day and once at the end. But it may not be for as long, which is why we do it more frequently. In the beginning of our relationship, sometimes we would have just one long session every day.
2 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah, I think our record was 5 hours, which I know for some people is nothing. It's like some people have 5-hour conversations on the telephone every other day. But for us, I was like, whoa, that was...
Record breaking.
Yeah. So that's really important because I've talked to other couples who, for example, one partner will want to talk every day and the other person will only want to talk once every 3 or 4 days. It's just important that you and your partner communicate about that and understand what your needs are and also where the needs and wants are coming from, because if you want to talk every day or multiple times a day because you feel really insecure or there's a lack of trust, then that's not a good thing. But if it's more, you just miss the person and want to check in, or you have free time, or other sort of healthier reasons, then I don't see a problem with that. And then also that should mean you're more flexible if your partner says like, oh, actually I can't talk every day because of these reasons. You just want to negotiate and understand each other.
Yeah, just as long as you're aware of each other's needs, that's important. So yeah, of course, just using Skype is brilliant for that.
Yes, we love Skype. It's amazing because if you don't already have it, it's free to sign up for an account, and regardless of where the person is who you're talking to or you're video chatting with, if they're using their computer, so they're using an internet connection to Skype, then it's free. So it's just saved Tim and I so much money. And you can see the person, like if you have good internet, then just the quality of the video feed is so high. And we're also huge advocates of traditional mail or snail mail and packages. With the advent of technology, the ability to so quickly and easily write and send emails and text messages and leave voicemail messages, writing handwritten letters and cards is somewhat of a lost art. Everyone I've talked to loves receiving handwritten letters and cards. It's just such a nice gesture because it takes time, it takes thought, it's just an extra step that is very special, I think, especially during these times, and it sort of helps keep the romance going, I think.
Yeah, Gloria writes fantastic cards.
I think
She's
Tim
very
writes
encouraging.
fantastic. He also draws really cute pictures.
Another key part of being in a long distance relationship is also just being able to have community around you to support you. Having good close friends who also know your partner abroad, or that you can at least talk about, and share your struggles, and share where you're at, so that they can encourage you, pray for you, or even just talk to on a daily basis.
Because I think what happens, especially as a couple does long distance over a longer period of time, is obviously you meet new people, you may switch jobs, or you may move houses, and suddenly your network of friends and colleagues, it evolves because your boyfriend or girlfriend isn't there with you to experience all of that day by day. You can start to feel like you're living in two different worlds, and I think that can only be sustained for a certain period of time. So it's really important that for Tim and I, when we are visiting each other, if we haven't seen each other for a couple of months, of course we want to spend all of that 2-week vacation together, just quality time, the two of us. But it's important now we realize we need to also be spending time in community, introducing each other to our new friends, maintaining friendships that we've formed from before. Because if you don't do that, again, you are going to feel like you're living in two separate worlds. Maybe that's a really obvious point, but for us it actually took a while to learn that.
We were a little stubborn there.
But
I think for the most part now we've really done well with merging and getting to know the different people and different contexts that we live in when we're apart, and it does certainly help.
We're making an extra effort now. The next tip is, of course, to have a plan for when you're going to see each other. Tim and I mentioned earlier that the longest time we've spent apart is 5 months, which
never again.
I know, hopefully never again. And then the shortest time between visits is probably 2 or 3 weeks. But on average, we see each other once every maybe 2.5 to 4 months. That's pretty good for us. And I know other couples, they can see each other once a month or twice a month. So you just want to be on the same page about how frequently you're going to be able to see each other, and really have open lines of communication about that. And I think that you also have to make it a priority because, for spring break, for example, I'm in grad school, and a lot of my classmates were traveling. They're doing amazing trips to different parts of the world, and it's like I have to consciously make a decision that, no, I want to spend that time with Tim. Or maybe sometimes there may be times where I'm like, I could take this week and do something else, and that's okay too, but you just want to communicate about it and make sure that the relationship is a priority, even if you're not going to spend every single opportunity together. You don't want to get complacent about it. and feel like the relationship will maintain itself even when you're not seeing each other for months and months at a time, because that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. And what is essential is to have an idea of when this long distance relationship is going to come to an end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need to have light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's necessary to have a specific date like January 2015. Like, I don't think it has to be that specific, but for Tim and I, we did talk about, well, what will the near future look like? When I left Taiwan, I knew that I would be going to Africa for 9 months, and that was already set before I met Tim. And then I was also applying to grad school at that time. All the programs were in the US or in the UK, so I knew then that's 1 or 2 more years of grad school. So those are things we talked about, like, okay, it's possible for Tim to maybe come to the US during that time period, but maybe not. So things are still, they were very ambiguous for us, but at least we knew it wasn't just going to be 6 months of long distance. We knew it would probably be a couple years.
Yeah, well, it's been 3.
Yeah, it's been more than 3. We're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it is possible, and I think it's all about, you know, whether or not it's worth it for you as a couple, because it is really hard. It's very hard. You know, Tim and I actually did break up for about 2 months, a little over a year ago. So it can be very stressful. Not that normal relationships aren't, but sometimes the distance can create extra challenges. If you are stuck on that one person and you feel like, hey, he or she is the one for me, which Tim and I do, it's like all of the extra challenges are worth it. I think we both feel like we have a very strong foundation, you know, a strong foundation of friendship, and because when it's just
trust, commitment.
Yeah, when it's just the 2 of you, and you know, and an internet connection, like you do really dig deep, and you find substance to talk about. So that is our advice for people who are considering long distance relationships or who are in them, and we wish you luck.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh yeah. Okay. Talk a little bit about long.
Could you talk more loudly, because
I want you on my team.